the sound, feel love, we defy, sayang, we defy.
Memories, man, memories. Okay. My God, it's been. Oh, time to shut up.
Sostagaria. For over a millennium, the fertile lands in the heart of this vast continent were ruled by the Holy Asha dynasty, descendants of Taroa the Messiah. However, it is man's doom to forget. Amidst all the wealth and exotic pleasures, the nobility lost their way and sank into corruption and depravity, forgetting even the holy teaching of Taroa. It was in these days of unrest that the citizens, struggling under an oppressive regime, rose up and, under the leadership of Aris the Sage, took up arms against the kingdom. That was the first outbreak of violence in what would later be known simply as the Revolution. The royal army's counterattack was swift and fierce, but time and time again they were put to flight by the cunning strategies of Aris and the indomitable will of the advancing Liberation Army. Victory in hand, the rebels set up a council and worked to establish the continent's first democracy. And so, the Republic of Ishtaria was born. However, Aris the Sage, whom all hoped would lead the country, mysteriously vanished and has not been seen again to this day. Now, 15 years later, the shadow of war once again threatens Ishtaria.
So, like I was saying, it's been a decade at least since I played this game, and I think Vandal Hearts 2 turns 20 this year, or was it last year? I can't remember when 2 came out. I think it was like it was 98 or 99. I know this one came out over in the US in like 97, late 97. But well, yeah, Vandal Hearts. We the funny thing is that me and at the time, well, me and my best friend now been my best friend since we were freaking kids. At the time, what we would do is we would go like we would do chores or little mow lawn side job type thing, and go out and buy a game each, both of us. So like we went and we found Vandal Hearts and Vandal Hearts 2 because we had found them together, and we only each had enough money for one of them. And we would always, this was a common thing for us. Like I would buy one, he would buy one. We beat it within the week, and then just switch the games. Like we'll exchange games over the weekend, and then we'll hold each other's game for a week and see who can beat it. And basically, after 2 weeks, we compare notes. Like, I bought Vandal Hearts 1. It actually took me a week to beat it. When he bought Vandal Hearts 2, it took him more than a week to beat it. It took him almost a month to beat it because it was just that much longer of a game. And it had a very annoying yet unique mechanic to it, where this game is classic turn-based strategy RPG, tactical RPG, where you move to this square, you face this direction, you attack that direction. But what's unique to this game is that everyone counters, no matter what, unless you stun them, paralyze them, knock them a square away or whatever. Everyone counterattacks. That's just how it is. Like you'll see in a minute. I'm gonna go up to somebody, hit him with my sword, he's gonna counterattack. In 2, it's a very much different system. As in, whenever you move, like you would have to preset your commands. Okay, I'm gonna move to say 3 squares to my left, look north, and attack. You have to preset your commands, then hit go. But when you do that, the computer is also doing that. So say you're gonna run up and hit this person, well, you gotta guess where they're gonna move to, right? And the computer, after a while, you kind of realize computer usually tries to go for back attack. So like you'll see me go in a circle and a swing where my back was, and or not y'all guys, because I'm playing 1 right now. Maybe I'll play 2 later, but I would go up, left, down, and then look to my right and swing. And that's usually where the computer is going to go. It's going to try to go to where my back is and swing in that direction. And that way it becomes a little bit easier, but it's a little bit more annoying when it comes to range units, because they will always try to guess where you're going. Or caster units, all they have to do is lock onto you, and it doesn't matter where you're going, you're going to get hit with that magic. I actually prefer this one a little bit more, just because it doesn't require all the intense thinking. And I might sound like Mushmouth, who have an erupting wisdom tooth, as they called it. But there's one class I never actually got on this game. It's the Vandalier, and it's for Ash. It's for the main character who just one-hit a guy. And that's another unique thing about the second game. Like, well, in the second game I've seen, the most unique thing about it is the combat system where you move and they move at the same time. Nothing was ever done like that for a long time. I think there's like a couple of games that came out a few years ago. They do that now, but back then, that was like unheard of. No one thought that the PS1 could do something like that, much less than, you know. And it was, if I remember, I can't remember if it was a multi-disc game. I think it was like 2 discs for that game. But no one thought the PlayStation could do that and make it look good at the same time. I mean, it was not a bad looking game. You know, nowadays people are like, oh, you want to do this, you want to do that. You know, it has to look like Minecraft. Me personally, I can't stand playing Minecraft. It hurts my eyes. And everyone was like, oh, you know, just play use a graphic enhancement mod on the PC. I'm like, no, don't really have I'm not gonna sit here and play Minecraft on the PC. I mean, I have a system. I have a PS4. That's what I mainly use. I mean, I have a laptop, which I'm using now, but it's for, you know, older games. It seems to me with the whole wave of people doing retro games nowadays, everyone's like, a lot of people who are my age, we've all pretty much come to a consensus of, yeah, the older games actually make you think and a little bit harder. Runaway Zoo. Good job. Good boy. I don't want to kill you yet. But let's see. I think. Oof. I think at the time this came out, it was rather right before or right after Final Fantasy Tactics came out. Because both games were in '97. Like, Tactics came out, I want to say, like, almost 3 months after Final Fantasy VII did. But it was way more, comparing these two games, it was way more in-depth. But at the same time, I mean, there's some things that it didn't do, like, say, this. Gushing blood in the support system, where you see where it said support. I mean, my hit rate and defense went up because I'm near my friend. Oh no. Crap. Gotta get to Diego. How does he get to move so freaking far? Diego's might have to bite the bullet on this one. Freaking game. Or maybe not. Oof. Yeah, they all start with herbs. There we go. Live, I say. But yeah, but then, well, when we were kids, that was a common occurrence with us. It was, you know, go buy 2 games. 2 weeks later, actually, for me, within a week, I was able to buy another game. I mean, brand new PlayStation 1 games back then were $20. That's like a day's worth of work for me. That it never have I ever seen a drastic difference of art styles between 2 games that are in the same series. I mean, Final Fantasy, you look at it, it slowly evolved into what it was. Castlevania, the same way. It slowly, over the course of 2-3 games, it evolved. The art style changed, and then you got to Symphony of the Night, which it was such a left turn for the series. Like, I mean, it wasn't a bad turn, but it was completely different from what it was, and the art style, that art style lasted for a while until Aria of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow came out. Speaking of which, this game is made by Konami, so. But as you can see, the sprites here, they're kind of, there's a lot of detail into it. Like, you can see Diego's blinking. That wasn't a common thing back then either. Now it is. Even it's a solid sprite. If you notice that you can see their teeth. You can see the shape of their nose. You can see the wrinkles on this dude's face. In the second game, they had that level of detail, but it went from semi-anime look here to they went and made a freaking U-turn to goth. I'm not talking like emo goth style. I'm talking like Visigoth, Ostrogoth, medieval Europe style of like paintings. Not artwork, but like portraits. Portraits, yeah. Even though, and the colors are vastly different too when it comes to like the map series. See how like you got your vibrant green, you got your foresty, like the trees don't look brown. You know what I mean? They're that tan beige kind of color like wood is naturally. And you got the dirt on the ground, you got grass on the ground, you got the dark green leaves on the tree. Where in part 2, it's like where there's green, where there's usually green, it's not really green. Like if you see grass, it's not green on that one. It's more of a seafoam kind of looking color. Like it's hard to describe. It went from vibrant colors to a more bleak look. But one thing that I'm all over the place here. Let me go back to what I was saying about this compared to Final Fantasy Tactics. Tactics was way more in depth in terms of, you know, class systems. You had job points, you had experience points. You know, your level is not your job's level. Like much how, like, you know, I think 14, A Realm Reborn is now. It's pretty much the same thing. But the major difference between that game and this game is that in Tactics you can only take 5 people into battle that you control. Sometimes you'll take 4 because someone's gonna join you midway. On this game, on the other hand, these characters are locked into their classes pretty much. Like at level 10, I want to say, these 2 characters here, Clint and Diego, they get a choice. They can split from the class that they have, because they have basically, they're like rookies. You know, you have your bow, your archer, and then you have your swordsman over here, and then actually soldier. He's a soldier, and then like when Clint gets to level, I want to say 10 or 20, I can't remember what it was. He goes from soldier. You can rather choose to make him a guardsman or a swordsman. Where a guardsman, he gets heavy armor and an axe, and that changes his whole dynamic of how you use him. Versus, he has a higher, like, he's more defense oriented, heavy armor, he's slow. Or you can make him a swordsman where he loses a little bit of his defense and makes up for it with heavy counter attacks. You know, increased critical hit rate and faster movement and speed. Diego's kind of a hothead. Where, say, Diego, on the other hand, he gets to split between Hawk Knight, which is basically he loses his range, he loses his bow, he picks up a spear and is able to freaking fly. Or you can keep him on the bow path and he becomes like a sniper or something like that later on. And the unique thing about this game is that every character has a unique sprite. Like later on, there's more there's more archer type people, and they look completely different. Like there's a girl that you get, I can't remember when, I think in like chapter 2, maybe 3. She's considered an archer, but she uses a crossbow instead of a bow. And then like if you keep her on her bow path, her last class, she's not even using a bow. She looks like she's walking around with a giant turret of some kind, and she shoots these bolts out of this big machine. It's really weird looking. Then there's a guy that's I think he's bald. He uses a bow. He starts off using a bow, ends up using some kind of weird bow gun. Or you can turn him into a Hawk Knight, and instead of having wings, he has 2 turbines on his back because he's so heavy. That was the end of chapter 1-1. So I will move to the next area the next time. Until then, I'll yap later. See ya.